The iRacing Formula Renault 3.5 Season 3 begins here at the Hockenheim Ring circuit. Of course, we've had an exciting Season 2 just a couple of weeks ago, and we're now back for a new season of racing with these monstrous Formula Renault 3.5 cars. And we can't wait to see what these cars will bring for the following weeks. So joining alongside myself tonight here, Marco Barbanera behind the cameras and Jessica Ball. So Jessica, I think it's quite an exciting circuit that we are coming to here. Especially with these Formula Renault 3.5 cars, I think there is going to be a lot of racing action and mostly side-by-side racing given the way this circuit is.
Yeah, definitely. Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. And to be honest, this is one of my favourite tracks on this iRacing game due to the side-to-side battling and due to the fact that you can have battles everywhere around the circuit. There's non-stop action all the way as well. And it's a great track to start the first race of the season. The 3rd of April is where we saw the drivers race here last, and it was Ben Fuller that won the race quite dominantly actually as well. So it's nice for them, the drivers, to be back. Some of them have raced here before, some of them haven't as well. But I think we should see some more battles due to the fact that these drivers had more chance to actually get used to the track, because this was only on the game this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing the improvement of these drivers around this track going for the second time.
So of course, for all of you Hockenheim Ring aficionados here, of course the advantage that this new track brings is that for both for spectators, both on TV as well as in person, you can see all the racing action, but that is of course at the expense of the old layout that runs through the forest. But still, it's going to bring exciting racing action nonetheless. Heartbreaking down the hairpin as well, especially with these Formula Renault cars. It's going to be quite nail-biting for these drivers. So we are going through the grid now. So starting from pole position is Edward Samborski, and he will begin alongside Robert Tarleton from second. Tom Wedgwood will begin from third, and Kane Halliburton from fourth. James Pinsker and Christoph will begin from 5th and 6th respectively. Bradley Philpott and Dennis Ferkheim from 7th and 8th. Sean Campbell and Benjamin Barato from 9th and 10th. Rafael Bonifacio and Jason Henrik from 11th and 12th. So John Owens and Oliver Koka begin from 13th and 14th. Daniel Gallis and Dennis Konu 15th and 16th. Philip Hillard, Carsten Huth, Adam Kohn, Maximilian Bui, Paul Ilbrink, and Shane Russell round out your starters of 22 strong here tonight.
Yes, indeed. And just look at those drivers and cars on the grid for the first time in 2 weeks. It's great to see as well. And it is an official series as well, so any drivers can get involved every week. So if you're liking the racing here today and want to get involved next week, you can as well. We race every Saturday evening, 10:45 GMT, and BST 9:45 GMT if you want to come and join the action. This is a top split, which means the best of the best are racing here at the Hockenheim Ring. Plenty of tracks to get involved in this season as well. Don't forget, we are sponsored by Apex Racing Academy, which has 29 data packs, loads of setups, track guides, weekly group coaching sessions as well, and integrated with our other sponsor, Virtual Racing School. Improve your on-track performance with 50 data packs, setups, track guides, data analysis, and one-on-one coaching.
As drivers prepare to go green, and it is a great start by Samborski, and it's going to be Tarleton who will probably get the advantage along the inside line. So Samborski goes a little bit out wide. Someone has gone around, and it has fortunately not led to...
What is going on at the track right now? There's cars flying everywhere. It is to be expected, the first race of the season, but I was not expecting carnage like that. It reminds me of Spa 1998. A lot of drivers are in the pits already, but it's Samborski that leads them, Pinsker in second, and we got Herbignon in third position as well. There's only not many cars on the track as well, so I wonder if a few people were late on the brakes in turn one, but yeah, I'm guessing they'll have to be in the pits for quite a bit then. I did not see who caused that. Did you see who caused that?
I think it could have been one of the cars that had gone around, vertically or rather, it kind of gone around 90 degrees along that stretch. So a total of 6 cars were involved in that first corner tussle. So let's have a look at the replay. So as they made their way through, it was just a very simple issue of both cars coming into each other, bumper to bumper contact over the first corner, and that kind of sparked an incident between so many drivers.
Yeah, very unlucky for some of the drivers. I don't know how some of the drivers actually avoided that as well. So that leaves some drivers that have room to improve, of course, and have to wait just a little bit, where some drivers, I think there's 16 still out there right now. 1.1 gap between Sambrowski and Pinsker up front, and then another 7 tenths between Pinsker and Herbigno in third position as well. Nice little battle we're seeing as well between Pinsker and Herbigno as well, as Herbigno tries to close up as well. Dell Sports team, as you can see, most of them have generic paints this week due to the fact that obviously they haven't sent some in yet, and hopefully we'll get all the paints for you next week. Meanwhile, in the midfield, we got Adam Kong in the number 19 car, battling with Gallus in 8th position, Daniel Gallus actually, and then we got Paul LeBrink, a well-known face in the league as well, in 7th position. Not quite far ahead of those guys, but still they could probably catch up very, very soon. But yeah, this is shaping up to be super close already. We've already started lap 2 of this race then, and hopefully the guys that are still in the pits will be able to race once more, but they're going to be so many laps down already. It's just going to be a bit of a shame, but we're seeing Raphael right on the back of Kong, and he's playing a backseat in all of this, and if Kong makes a mistake, then to be honest, this gives a chance for the person in 10th place to really step up to the mark and maybe get the move into the first corner, which he's going to try to do anyway. He's got great straight line speed as he heads towards turn 1. Tries to go to the right-hand side, but looks like Adam Kong has closed the door. Running a little bit wide there. This gives the Brazilian a chance to give room and go to the right-hand side of the screen, heading towards turn 3 and in towards turn 4, and he gets the move done. Nicely done as Provincio, the number 9, P9 on the track, and Kong has dropped down into P6. Another driver we're battling with, LeBrink and Owens battling for P6 as we head towards past the Parabolica into the hairpin. Nicely done there, and he's up into P6, goes the Dutchman.
Yes, the racing legend himself, he was pretty much an ex-pro during the Formula 1 car era, where those cars were the World Championship Series cars. It's great to see him racing here as well. I'm sure he's been racing extremely well for the past seasons, and right now he is giving the drivers here a run for their money. So Ilbig in fact just made a move ahead of John Owens, and he is probably going to have Jason Henrik, at this point Christopher Urbino, on his crosshairs. And yes, that would appear to be one of the cars who's probably made a mistake, and that could be lap traffic, so Ilbrig now in 5th position.
Yeah, I think it might be in lap traffic, but I did see a car actually pick up some damage there as well, so maybe he got caught out trying to unlap himself potentially, or being lapped. So yes, that is Herbigno, unfortunately. He was running in 3rd position. Not the start of the season that he wanted, unfortunately, but he's now going to join other people in the pits. Let's see what's happened then. So he passed the corner where we saw Sebastian Vettel bottle it many years ago in Formula 1. Now, yeah, I think he just lost it by himself there, unfortunately. Sometimes you can just clip the curb there and you can lose it quite a lot. So he goes out very quickly, so I don't think there was much damage from his car, so he rejoined in 13th position, and he's still on the lead lap, which is okay, to be honest. He's still back in this race. Still anything can happen in Formula 1 at 3.5, and it usually does. The gap's starting to increase between the leaders of Edward Sambrowski in the number 1 from Downforce Racing over Pinsker at the moment. 1.8 is the gap, but the gap's increased even more to P3 now with Herbigno out of the picture. So interestingly enough, that lap 2, Sambrowski was faster out of anybody as well. He's in the 124s at the moment. 124 was his fast lap at the moment, and that was very, very good indeed. And obviously lap 3 was a 1:24.7, so he is being consistently in the 1:24s at the moment, and we're seeing quite a few people in the 1:25s as well. I think consistency, is going to be key around this track, especially with the amount of battles that we could be having right now. And I won't be surprised if other people make mistakes. Herb and you might be going back into this. And we've got Oliver Cracker, who could catch up to this as well. Apologies if I pronounce names wrong, by the way, as well. As a few people in the pits right now. I don't know what's happened there.
So there's another look at the first lap incident that kind of cost 6 drivers the opportunity to kind of battle from the start. So that was, as you saw again, front bumper to rear bumper contact that kind of sent the cars around. So we're back to live pictures, and we're back with Daniel Gallis, and he's probably just made the move ahead of Rafael Bonifacio, and he is going to defend hard for his position. And this is now Adam Conn, and he is leading his fellow Australian driver Shane Russell, and this is in fact a battle at the bottom of the top 10 positions. So very crucial here, as this is where quite a lot of spicy action is taking place. So they make their way across the final 2 corners. Of course, the drag strip there is actually quite a slippery surface, especially during the wet. And Adam Conn begins yet another lap as he takes the first corner. Oh, goes a little bit wide, and that would seem that Shane Russell has just done, and that's probably going to be to his slight disadvantage.
Yeah, disadvantage right now, but you could see Russell make a mistake behind that will allow the gap to be increasing a little bit as well. But these guys are actually racing, these 2 Australians, obviously it's the morning for them as well, so probably they had quite a bit of time to wake up properly before this race. But you can see that Kong has made a little bit of a mistake there as Russell goes for a send there into the hairpin. Brilliant stuff as well. We're also seeing a battle with Berfincio as well, the Brazilian. There's so many battles happening on track right now, with Kong getting the switchback of dreams there, heading towards turn 8. Brilliant stuff. Now heading towards the stadium section, and Kong moves back out to P9 there. So I think Russell must have been caught napping now, unfortunately, but plenty of time for him to not make any mistakes in this race. You can see Russell chasing Kong down like no tomorrow. It's insane to watch.
And the battle still ensues, as we are going to have a good perspective of the choice of line that Shane Russell will take as he tries to hunt Conn down. So as they now go over the first corner again, good use of the exit curbs. So of course, Russell trying the off-track limits, or rather the cut corner limits with the exit of the first corner, and we're now on board with Russell as we look at things from his perspective, and as we're going to see if the gap will increase or decrease from this point. So because the gap sits at 0.4 of a second, making good use of slipstream. So let's see if he's able to send this car along the inside of the hairpin. It would appear that the gap is a little too big for any moves to be made at this point. So Shane Russell continues sitting behind Adam Conn, and the gap sits at a consistent 0.4 of a second as they enter this section of the circuit. Turn a Mercedes corner, you have to brake quite hard for this left-hander, although the exit kind of goes in the car's favor, the racing line, so to speak. And they're now going to prepare for the entry into the stadium section as Shane Russell now goes top speed, and then a slight dab on the brakes. This corner you don't want to brake too hard, as you want to carry as much speed into this section as possible. And now making good use of the banked apex, try to carry as much weight through as possible. And you can see that one lap around Hockenheim isn't exactly long, certainly compared to the old layout. And Shane Russell has now gone to 0.6 behind Conn.
Yeah, as well, so I think that battle will ensue for the rest of the race then. So we'll watch the lap times from Kong and Russell indeed, because I think there are a few tenths difference between the both of them. Maybe a few Hummers as well, if they keep that consistency up as well, as Russell definitely on the back foot right now, but he's got Hoof in 11th, a few seconds behind as well. But looking at Pinsker's lap times compared to Bartijo in P3 there as well. And the gap at the moment between him and Bartijo is around about 3 seconds, but you could see Pins a lot faster compared to P3 right now as well. And Bartijo are just a few tenths slower, but at least he's not a few seconds slower. That's how close his grid is right now as well. And it looks like Russell is catching up again. It is not over for these two. It is Australian versus Australian here in Formula Renault 3.5, of course, as we're already about to start lap 10 of this race already, which is insane. Time does fly by when you're having fun, of course. And it is a summer for most of these drivers, so they will get hot in real life, and it's how they adapt to the temperatures in real life, because I know some of them will probably have their air conditioning turned off in the race, so they just got to deal with it, unfortunately. But just looking at the track temperature right now, it's 21 degrees, well, 23 degrees at the moment, and the wind is not too bad at the moment, and obviously it's quite sunny as well. So we're seeing Owens and Bavizio battling for P6. Raphael doing a fantastic job from where he started, actually avoiding all the carnage that was ensuing earlier on as well. But we're seeing, I think, a few drivers that were involved in the carnage had a lot of damage, but unfortunately they could not continue, so that's why they're out of the race. But here is Maximilian Bowie trying to go for a move past Carsten Hoof into the head, but he's made a bit of a mistake there, so Hoof has decided, you know what, does a Hulkenberg see you later down there into turn 7, and he gets the job done. But we'll see Maximilian tries to get the move once again, heading towards the stadium section, which he does not there. But sometimes you think you get the move done, but unfortunately you just make a mistake, which is a bit of a shame now, as you can see Hoof in the background starting to pull the gap there at the moment.
I do apologize, I've just been kicked out of the session, in fact, so I'm trying my best to return to the section, but that sounds like great racing nonetheless.
Yeah, that is not a problem. It's annoying that people get kicked out of the session like that. Things do happen, so hopefully you'll be able to join us soon. But meanwhile then, that doesn't mean we're still going to have, not going to have bad racing, we're going to have good racing, as we're heading towards turn 4 now between John Owens and Raphael. Once again, there's not many people racing, but that doesn't mean that we have less action. We have more action, in fact, as we got Raphael trying to go for a move then down the right hand side, then heading towards turn 6, a hairpin, then past the parabolica then, and he does it with ease right now, does the Brazilian driver. Meanwhile, we got Russell and John fighting once again now. It's like it's never ending right now. Shane and Russell, the Australian, versus John Con, the other Australian, past the turn 7 A complex. They do it, they make it look easy at the moment, but it looks like Russell is ahead this time. It's not John Kong, so brilliant stuff. It looks like Shane Russell has found the rhythm there at this stage to get past Adam Con there, which is brilliant stuff. Some good, valuable points there, because points make a difference in this official series, of course. And don't forget, obviously, you will get, if you score better in this series, you do get increased iRating, so the better you do, the better chance you will, obviously, in your safety rating as well. Obviously, most of these guys, I think all these guys are A-class as well, so they want to try and get their safety rating up as much as possible then. Your race leader, Sam Bosky, 3.3 seconds. He must be loving life at the front. Don't forget, last time we were here in the Formula Renault 3.5s, there was Ben, who absolutely dominated. We're seeing exactly the same here with Edward, the American, as well. So not really that surprised, to be honest, but at least he's having fun. But I'm looking at the last lap, actually. Pinsker was 3 tenths quicker than Edward there in that last lap, even though he's gained a bit of time on Pinsker in lap 10. So interestingly, that Pinsker is pushing on some laps, but saving a bit of fuel maybe on the others. We'll have to wait and see, of course, as we're nearly halfway into this race in 3 laps time. And I'm wondering if the co-com has joined the session yet. If not, we will look at the replay on what has just happened with what's gone on there, as for some reason it's not showing the replay that I wanted, which is weird. But as Pinsker's gone off, actually. That's why Pinsker's lost a bit of time to the leader. He was, I think, about 2.3 seconds behind. Now he was 3.5. So, yeah, that's why he lost a bit of time there. And meanwhile, Owens lost a bit of time to Raphael as well. So, he is now 2 seconds behind Raphael compared to about 8 tenths beforehand. But meanwhile, though, Gallus, though, has realised that that Owens has made a mistake, and he's chasing down John Owens there in the number 16 from Carolina. I love that state, to be honest. It's very, very good. Gallus a lot faster, so I wonder if Gallus is going to make the move very, very soon. It doesn't look like he's going to make the move at this moment in time. Oh, if someone's made a mistake, that is Owens, unfortunately, and that's Russell going, thank you very much. That's the move done there, and that's the thing. You just get on the power far too early, and that's what John Owens had done. And I think we can have a look at the replay, and I think he lost it on his own there. By looks of things, we're going on board with him as well. He didn't clip the curb there, but I think he just lost. Yeah, he was a bit early on the power there as well, which is so easy to do in these cars, of course. One of the hardest cars to drive on this iRacing simulator as well, replicate in real life, and I've done that quite a few times on this game. So it is an easy mistake to make, but hopefully he can come back strong, of course. But I don't think there was any damage, so he can carry on. But he's got a long way to go, of course, with the likes of Russell and Gallus taking advantage of that. Meanwhile, 3.5 seconds is the gap between the leader, but we got Hoof and Maximilian fighting once again. And Maximilian, remember, earlier on a few laps ago was fighting for P11. He got the move done, but he just made a mistake, similar to what we saw with Owens, but in a few corners later, and that's what allowed Hoof to gain a little bit more time. But Maximilian seems to be a little bit more consistent. I think a few attempts quicker than Hoof in this lap. 126.3 compared to Hoof's 126.8 as they go side by side now. Now we got Maximilian then. Can he get the move that he was looking for this time? You could see Hoof possibly trying to get a better line, heading towards now turn 7. This is the back straight coming up here. Very hard. They almost made contact. They leave plenty of space then as they head towards the stadium section, going towards the left-hand side there. Side-by-side racing, as we were talking about earlier in the broadcast, but they made contact as I said that. And yeah, that was unfortunate, and I think you just joined us when they made contact there, so bit of a shame. We're going to look at the replay there. They were going side by side the whole lap, or the whole complex, but then I think someone just hit the back, and yeah, they just couldn't avoid that ad. So what a shame there. That put an end to that good racing for them, but let's hope they can keep going. We're looking at the onboard views of these two, and yeah, it looks like Hoof hit the back on Maximilian there, but yeah, it is racing, unfortunately. What a shame, because they were driving so well today, weren't they?
Yeah, they absolutely were. You know, switching positions every 3 to 5 seconds. You know, that's excellent racing. But of course, we're now back with live pictures. They're still racing again. They've managed to pick themselves up. Now, I think they were fortunate not to have lost too many positions due to that. Oh, and that's Boy, who's gone a bit out wide, very much out wide, in fact. And that has resulted in him losing his proximity to Hoof, and he is going to lose another position down to Albino. And this is Boy down to 13th position. Quite an unfortunate sequence of events for Boy. And he has to kind of re-clamber up, or he has to re-battle again up to kind of gain his lost positions. So this is Boy now going to take the slipstream of Albino as he takes this part of the track. So he would probably require a lap or so to kind of regain lost ground, and we might see another battle take place.
Maximilian has got, I think, a bit of damage from the contact he had with Hoof, unfortunately. So that was why he went a bit wide there earlier on. And yeah, you can see the damage to the right-hand side. That doesn't look good, unfortunately. So I wonder if he's going to go into the pits, or I wonder if he's going to limp and carry on the rest of the race. But I think with the amount of damage he's got, he's going to lose so much time compared to his rivals. So if I was him, I would pit and get that repaired, but he's not. He's ploughing on through, which is great to see. So I'm guessing he's not losing that much time, I think, because the rest of the drivers are, I think, a little bit further away. But as soon as the other drivers start to close up, then probably that's when they would potentially start to push. As where we got, unfortunately, 5-6 drivers out of this race due to the pile-up from lap 1, which I have to say was quite interesting. I was not expecting that to happen in our first race in the Formula Renault 3.5. But a quick rundown on the race, as we're already halfway in this race already. Time does fly. And we got Edward Sambrowski, who is leading the way over James Pinsker in second, Benjamin Barreto and the Frenchman in third. We got Jason in fourth position. We got Paul Ilbrink in fifth position, doing very, very well indeed right now. And you can see the lap time just coming thick and fast right now. And we got Raphael that's made his way up into sixth position right now, which is great to see. So that is your top 6. Then we got Gallus, Russell, Cohen, Owens, Hoop in 11th, and Hoop is actually having a battle with Christoph, who was in third place earlier, but unfortunately he was caught up in an incident earlier as well, which cost him damage. I think he lost it by himself, and that's why he had to go into the pits. But he's looking good at the moment, though, to try and gain some positions at this moment in time, as sometimes you just clip the curve a bit too much where you lose it, and you're heading towards this into turn 2, heading towards turn 3 and 4 now. You can see Hoof really trying to fight back at this moment in time then, as they head towards the kink of turn 5 of the Parabolica then. This is slipstream fest, I would say, for these drivers, of course. No fuel saving, so they've got to try to power these cars home, as Herbinho and Hoof really showing what these cars could do around this track. Can these go side by side without crashing? Let's hope they can go side by side without crashing. And they're going to take so many risks here at this moment in time, go through this complex of corners, and it looks like they're not going to take risks at the moment. I won't be surprised though if they will go for a move towards the end of the race, but we've got the likes of Maximilian that could catch up. Maybe it'll be harder than it looks, but you never know with the mistakes being made here right now. Look at the laps that Paul is putting at the moment, 1:24.3. I think that's the fastest out of anyone so far in this session. Yes, that's the fastest lap of the session so far. So Paul is doing absolutely fantastic in 5th position at this stage, and he could be catching up Henrique sooner or later if Jason doesn't get the power down. So Paul, he could be on for P4, maybe even a podium as well. That is still on the cards.
Yeah, very much possibly the start of the race. Of course, Paul Ilbrink sporting the iconic Radicals paint ski. He's gained 16 positions from where he began. I think he began all the way down from the tail end, and he's now found himself up here at this part of the grid. So let's see if he's going to be able to hunt down Jason Henrique as he takes the next couple of corners. So the gap between both drivers sit at 0.8 of a second. Oh, that is someone's going around. Barreto has gone around, and that would see 4th position for Paul Ilbrink. Let's have a look at potentially what exactly happened to Barreto. So this is Barreto taking the final 2 corners and over the apex of the final corner, and that was just enough. I think too much throttle along the exit, and that was enough to send Barreto facing the wrong direction. So we're now with Henrique, as we have a hungry Paul Ilbrink emerging it from 4th position, and this is going to be quite exciting as we observe if Ilbrink is going to be able to go on a pursuit. And the gap now kind of sits, it's just hovering around 0.8 to 1 full second, and I think they need a couple of corners for this gap to kind of close. Jessica, I think this is possibly another good battle that's taking place.
To be honest, there's been so many great battles this race. The opener to the Formula Renault 3.5s this season has been fantastic so far, and I think Paul would definitely want a podium, so I think he's going to hope that he can gain some better cornering speed to Jason in 3rd position, because a podium is at stake. And imagine if he gets that podium. I'm sure a lot of Dutch fans that are watching this right now are going to be very, very pleased with that, and I think a lot of his esports team will be happy with that as well. And I love the livery that he is sporting right now. It just looks so cool. Like you said, very, very iconic too, and imagine what he could do if he could get past. Absolutely amazing there as well. And nobody's managing to beat Paul's fastest lap time right now. But I think we're seeing Edward still being in the 124s for pretty much the whole race so far. Same with James as well. Jason in the 125.2s. Slightly quicker than Paul the last lap as well. So I think that's why he's gained a few temps on Paul that lap. But maybe heading towards the parabolic and into the hairpin is where Paul could have the advantage into heading into this next set of corners. Nope, he does not. But I think just wait for a few more laps and that is when he could go for the attack. Yes, lap 16 was where he definitely was pushing as well. But you can't really push too much because otherwise you're going to just lose so much time and grip, unfortunately, with these cars because they are very, very powerful V8 engines, which I do miss in real life, of course. I wish there was more of these cars in real life, and you've got to agree, the sound is brilliant around this track, and I don't know why we don't race here as much in real life anymore in most series, because honestly, I don't know why some of them have done with these series have cut Hockenheim off the calendar, but that's another topic for another day then. So we've got 7 laps to go of this Hockenheim race for the first round of Formula Renault's 3.5. We saw Karoka actually get past Maximilian for P13 at this moment in time as well. And let's see if Paul can actually gain a bit of cornering speed in turn 3. No, he does not. We're riding on board with him right now. I think it's going to be a final few laps charge, I think he's just waiting patiently for him to make the move. He doesn't want to make the move now and get contact. He just wants to just be very patient with himself, and when there's space, he's going to go for it, I think.
Yeah, I think we have come to a point in the race where I guess the cars are kind of more spaced out already, and the very close pack racing is kind of becoming a little bit sparse. And you know, it's also worth noting that this race, it goes by lap count instead of time. So you know, sometimes I have to mentally calculate, you know, what does 26 laps mean? It's probably going to be around 40 to 45 minutes. That's probably the standard length of one of these races. So you know, seeing Paul Ilbrink's name, you know, it kind of reminds me of the days back in, you know, 2013, 2014, where I used to try to follow the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, as it was known back then. They were using the Formula Williams, or rather the Williams Formula 1 car, the FW31s, and you know, the racing back then was really, really unique. And you know, it's just a lot of nostalgia for me looking at Paul Ilbrink with his Radicals paint scheme, the same paint scheme that he carried on his Formula 1 cars back in the day. And you know, many great teams from back then. And you know, I think maybe some drivers might have probably stopped racing up at the top level, but it's great to see some of these drivers racing up here once again.
Yeah, it is as well, and obviously some of these drivers have commitments now because the restrictions are starting to ease due to COVID as well, so they may not have enough time, but these guys are committed, you know, they like racing in the sim racing world as well, and even though it may progress them into other opportunities in sim racing or maybe in real life as well, so the more races they do in iRacing, it would help them in the future, because honestly, we've had a few comments as well, the people in real life racing iRacing too, and it's a lot similar, some of the series compared to real life, which is great to see. So we'll see what happens as we're about to start lap 22 very, very soon, and it's probably one of the shortest races, I would say on the calendar, I think, as well, but probably one of the most exciting as well. And with the 8-minute qualifying that happened earlier, I think it only allowed a few laps for the drivers to get acclimatized with the track, and I think it's allowing for much closer racing as well, with them being on the same spec of cars as well. It just makes it a hell of a more exciting as well. Paul's found a bit more time on Jason at the moment. It's now the gap 5/10 of a second now. It's going down to the wire. This is what we like to see in Formula Renault 3.5. They head past turn 1 now as they head towards the braking zone now. Will one of them go late on the brakes and try to go for a send? It looked like Paul was going to go for the send there, but he brakes just a little bit earlier to make sure he doesn't hit into Jason in front, because you do not want to do that in these cars, of course, because look what we saw in the first lap, of course. There's a few drivers that are probably potentially going to be lapped already. This could be a chance for Paul. Is he going to go for a lunge into turn 6? He was looking for it. He was going to go for it on the inside, but he's just waiting. He's just waiting. The gap now 3 attempts now. I can't call it at this stage. I think it's just going to be a battle of the Titans. I've asked in the chat as well, who do you think is going to get P3? Is it going to be Jason? Is it going to be Paul? It'll be interesting to see what the viewers at home think of these two battling like this.
I've just inserted my answer in the chat. I have a good feeling that Paul Ilbrink will, if not overtake, he will definitely give Henrik a very, very hard time. So the gap has in fact reduced to 0.3 of a second, and that, at this rate, I think they might clash in terms of overtaking sooner than later. So we're back on board with Paul Ilbrink as he takes the first corner. I think, very good use of the exit there. You can't use too much of it. So Ilbrink now on the slipstream as he comes to a braking zone, turns 2 and 3. Of course, this is a very, very nice section where you can go side by side and kind of switch around your positions a little bit, as we've seen some drivers do so earlier on. We now get a good perspective of Ilbrink trying to close in the gap ever so slightly more as he goes down hard on the braking zone as they approach the hairpin. Can you just see how tight this hairpin is, from up above? So, a bit of a slight bit of a mistake along the exit, and that kind of got the rear end of the Formula Renault car a bit loose, and I think that that's kind of undone a little bit of some of the effort that Ilbrink had made to close the gap. So Henrik still pushing on very hard, and he is continuing to lead Ilbrink through the stadium section. Now, what is this? This is Carsten Huth and I would believe Oliver Quokka. This is a battle for 12th position, a new battle that's kind of emerged over the last couple of moments. So Quokka along the inside made a good overtaking move, but is Huth going to go for a comeback as he takes on the long stretch here? So this is going to be quite interesting, but it would appear that Quokka has made the move work for him, and Quokka takes 12th position.
Brilliant stuff as well. The nice shining yellow livery remains supreme once again as well. And I was just looking at Paul's sector time in the last lap as well. Before that mistake, he was actually fastest in sector 1. So if he didn't make that mistake, potentially he would have got the move done as well. And we saw Maximilian just now make a mistake, the similar mistake that he made earlier on, heading past into turn 6, which is a bit of a shame at the moment. But looks like Paul has found some momentum again, which is great to see at this stage as we're heading towards the final few minutes of this race. Then time just fly once again, and it is Sam Broski that leads. The top two has remained unchanged since pretty much the very start, as I think it's going to be a very close fight with those two this season. I really do hope that we may see some different winners potentially as well in the past, but these two definitely deserve to be up the top. But look at this once again, is Shane Russell on the charge. He was fighting with John Kong earlier, but unfortunately it looks like he lost a bit of time due to the incident earlier. But it looks like Shane is fighting for dear life right now, because the more positions you gain, the better around here. And I think a lot of these drivers are taking gambles right here as we head towards the penultimate lap of this race, lap 25 of 26. Then, even though it's not for podium position, it's for much bigger points, but this is for podium position. Paul, is he gonna go for an ultimate push lap, either this lap or next lap? He's pushing a little bit. He's 3/10 behind Jason at the moment. Let's see what he could do. He's got brilliant straight line speed. This could be his comeback of dreams then. If he pushes too much, it could be, like we saw a few laps ago, he could make a mistake, but it doesn't look like he's making a mistake. He's just being very patient, but I'm just worried for Paul that he may be too little too late, but he's staying on Jason Henry, but which I think the American, is getting a little bit worried in the cockpit, as you can see Daniel Gallis and Shane Russell going side by side at this moment in time, then heading towards, it looks like turn 6. Yes, it is past turn 6, heading towards the hairpin, and so more positions to be gained in these final few laps. They're still going side by side, heading towards the stadium section. Looks like Shane went a little bit wide there, and Gallis is into P7. Then final lap of this race, and the white flag has been raised, which shows the drivers that the leader is on the final lap. 1:24.2 is the last lap that Zambrowski set, so he's very, very quick right now as well. Both Jason and Paul also in the 124s. They're both pushing right now. Let's see what Paul can do, and they both make contact. That's just a disadvantage of both of these drivers just pushing to the limit, and it does not work. And that means Barto could get P3 if these two don't get a move on very, very quickly. But that was too close for comfort there. Paul gets the podium, but at what cost? It could have been Bargio, but looks like Henrique is fighting once again. He's having the P3. Is that a sportsmanship gesture? It's like, oh, I made a mistake. I don't know, but my oh my, these guys are absolutely pushing.
Oh, they certainly are indeed. And that was a very close move. So of course, I think we are coming towards the final few moments of the race. I think if it's been anyone, it's only been Edward Zabowski who's been dominant all race long. And as he comes across the final two corners, he is going to come around the start finish line, and he will take round one here at Hockenheim. He will take the win here in Germany as he takes home his first victory from round one. And it will be James Pinsker and Jason Henrique who will take second and third. Of course, Paul Ilbrink doing the sportsmanship move, ceding third to Henrique, and Paul Ilbrink comes home in fourth. Benjamin Barto will come home in fifth, and I think that kind of rounds out your very good performing top five there, as we now follow this battle to the wire. This is a battle towards all the way to the end, and it is Shane Russell who will lead the Aussie pair, and he will come home in 8th position with Adam Kohn finishing in 9th. So very great racing along the top here, and this is Christophe Elbino. I think he could have had a much better race, but due to some incidents he has to settle for P11.
Yeah, a bit of a shame as he was in the podium spots as well. I imagine it could have been a three-way fight for the podium with the likes of Jason, Paul and Herbinho, but it wasn't meant to be for him. But it's always next week for him. There's still chances to get some points as well. But what a way to kick off this season of the Formula Renault 3.5s at the Hockenheim ring. They should come here every season. It just brings out everything. We have seen the leaders dominating, but to be honest, sometimes you get that, and it's because they're very, very good around here as well. So it should be interesting to see as well. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to next week. It'll be interesting to hear what the drivers thought about that race, especially the drivers that were involved in the incident in lap 1, which caused a little bit of stir for some of the drivers. But we will go through your results then for the first round. So Edward Samboski wins the race from James Pinsker in second. Jason Henrique takes the final podium spot. Paul in 4th position. And we got Benjamin Barto in 5th. Raphael in 6th. Daniel Gallis in 7th. Shane Russell in 8th. Very close battle between the two there as well. Adam Kong in 9th position. And we got John Owens in 10th. Then we got Herbinho in 11th. Oliver Kuoka in 12th, and Carson Hoof, the last. I think actually no, Oliver was the last driver on the lead lap, as well as Carson Hoof. And then we got Philip Illard and Maximilian, the last of your finishers. And then we got Dennis Cornu, Robert Tarleton, Tom Wedgwood, Sean Campbell. Dennis did not see the checkered flag, so a bit of a shame that. But we got 2 people in the interview waiting area at the moment. Both of them are actually on the podium. One of them is P2 and one of them is P3. Who should we get first?
I think let's speak to James Pinsker first on virtue of his finishing position. So James, of course, he came home in second.
Yeah, we'll may as well get James in right now. I'm not sure if I can drag him in. Yeah, because I haven't done this before. There we go. I have dragged him in. So, James, what an opening race for you in this Formula Renault 3.5. Tell us how the race has gone for you. Did it exceed your expectations?
Well, I'll say the result exceeded my expectations, but yeah, this turn 1, this lap 1, wow, that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy. And from there, I mean, from my perspective, it was a pretty boring race, but I got through to turn 1, which is the important bit, and then yeah, second place. My pace in a field as strong as this at this track, I wasn't feeling that comfortable with the car. So I was just happy that I put myself through and got myself into the track position and just could hold P2 really. But yeah, I mean, I'm not tricking myself into believing that it wouldn't have been a much harder fight had there not been that massive lap 1 thing.
Yeah, talk us through that lap 1 instance. I don't know how you managed to avoid that as well. What was going through your mind at that point?
Well, it's kind of it's obviously going very quickly, but I just see the car going sideways in front of me. So I just get out of the throttle to give as much time for his car to get out of the way, and then I see another car flying, but that's just behind me. And then oh wow, I've got through, but then I look in my mirror and I see all hell breaking loose. It was not pretty, but I think honestly it was a shame because I feel like you guys maybe were a bit bored in the middle part of the race, but I know for sure with the field we had, this front group, it was going to be a really exciting race between about 6 or 7 guys probably fighting in and around the podium throughout the whole thing. So it was a shame, I guess, that you guys didn't get to see that this week because of this crash, but yeah, I'm just happy that I managed to get through, I suppose.
Yeah, we still managed to solve some battles anyway, so we weren't short on them even with the crashes, indeed. But yeah, it does happen, and we usually I think we've done the worst of the crashes in the first race. So hopefully there's no more as we head to next week. And speaking of next week, if you are racing in it, are you comfortable with the track that the cars are going to next week, or do you think you need a bit of practice in?
Next week's Road America, I believe. That's gonna be a fun one. I mean, IndyCar's there this week. If anyone's watching that, go Dixon. Yeah, I've been pretty comfortable with Road America in the past. Quite familiar with it because Hockenheim. Obviously, this is only the second time we came here. Road America, we've been here so many times. But yeah, based on the pace in this race, I didn't feel like I was. It didn't feel great, I was maybe a bit lacking confidence here, and then seeing that Samborski was consistently 0.3 faster than me. He's a great driver, but I don't like seeing that. So I'm looking to keep pushing on, and hopefully next week I can make a return to form, because I don't think in terms of the pace this was my best showing. It was just keeping consistent and keeping clean ultimately. But yeah, very happy with the P2, and if I get a second place next week as well in Road America, will be a very good field and a lot of slipstream battles there for sure. Then I'll be happy with that.
Well done to you this week as well, and if you could keep up your run of form as well, you'll be in a good shot with the championship. Well done this week, and best of luck next week in Road America.
Cheers.
Right, and now we're gonna move on to the third place man, which Shan is actually going to be interviewing, and it is the guy who was fourth place man actually, who actually gave the podium to Jason. Now we got Paul in the interview room, so it'll be interesting to hear his thoughts. But take it away, Shan.
Thanks. Hi, Paul. I think we were just having a look at the battles that were taking place throughout the second half of the race, and it would appear that your battle was the key battle, the only one in fact for quite a large portion of the second half. So I did notice that at 2 laps ago, due to the incident, you did kind of return the position to Jason Heinrich. Do you think you can talk us through the sequence of events and also the race in general?
I think the hopes for most battles ended in the exit of turn 1, the mayhem. I messed up qualifying by missing turn 1 twice, so started from last. I knew it would be a tough race, but there were cars everywhere out of turn 1, and I was really lucky to get through. But after that, I worked my way forward a little bit, caught a few lucky positions by people that spun. But yeah, I was trying to catch Jason, but he had a really good pace. I was a little bit quicker, but not a whole lot. And yeah, I was trying to decide when I would really make the move, but with Benjamin out of the way, it was just the 2 of us left there. So I tried to get close earlier on, but it was only the last couple of laps that I was in an attacking position. And that last lap, I knew it would be tough, so I really flawed it through turn 1 and was really close for turn 2, and like, I don't know, I just braked a little bit too late and we had a slight contact which turned him around, and wouldn't really be fair to him to throw his good race away like that, so I just gave position back and finished in 4th.
Sure, that was really a gentleman move. And I think coming to Hockenheim, which is quite a new track on the iRacing service, what do you think about the kind of racing that this track offers? As opposed to some of the more common tracks that we've used in the past before this came to iRacing.
Well, like you said, it's like quite new to iRacing, so I haven't raced a whole lot before today on this track. But yeah, it's like interesting. It's like the second half of the track, especially, is like quite technical. So I think it's a bit like too narrow to do a whole lot of things there. But the long straight really offers good opportunities, and it's a bit of a trade-off I think you have to make on setting up your car to be able to get like really fast in draft and with DRS, and versus having good speed if you're driving alone in free air. So I think it's if there's like more people around, like now it was all spread out with not that many cars left, it was a bit boring, I guess, but in general I think it's okay track to race at, and I like it.
Wonderful. I must say, I must say that the Radicals paint scheme that you're driving brings back a lot of nostalgia for me. Personally watching some of the Formula 1 races back in 2014 on iRacing. So, look, before we do let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Sure, everybody for racing here and making it a great series. You guys for broadcasting, and my teammates at Radicals Online, and our partners and sponsors: Armor Syndrome, Cranfield Simulation, Track Racer, Joe Real Timing, Turn Racing, MITF Podcast 6, Sideways, and Pixel Dust.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, Paul. So that was Paul Ilbrink. Put up a great show for us, and I think Jessica, if you can continue on from here.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember people's Discord, because I don't know who's which and where they finished, and I'm actually need to check where people finished. I believe it is our race winner about to interview. Is that right, Shan?
I do believe so.
Yeah, I it's hard to tell where people's Discords, unfortunately. So if I get the names wrong, I do apologise. So. Congratulations, Eddie, on your race today as well. You looked in control the whole race as well, but talks about pretty much we didn't really follow you much of the race because you were just having a bit of a great moment. So the lap 1 calamities, tell us what you were thinking. Did you actually see what happened?
I saw the car to my right going into the turn 1, the kink, and then I didn't see a car, so I was like, okay, well, that's convenient. I mean, I left plenty of room, so I went way out wide, and I made sure I didn't spin the car off the curb and crash everyone. And then I went into turn 2 there, and there was nobody. So I was like, okay. And then down the straightaway, I looked at the relative, and I saw a bunch of like odd numbers. You're expecting to see like maybe 3, 2, 5 or something like that for qualifying positions. And then I saw like 18 and all this other stuff. I was like, okay, well, that's weird. And then I saw James was behind me. I was like, okay, I still have competition, but it seems like, the P2 through 6 are just gone. So that's when I kind of put it together that there must have been a huge accident behind me. And then I just put my head down and try to go as fast as I can. And the track was hot, a good 5 to 10 degrees higher than when I practiced all week. And with the wind, it was pretty treacherous, to be honest. I had a few moments. Luckily, I didn't crash the car, but I about binned it and somewhere in the middle of the race on the final corner.
Yeah, because sometimes when you're on your own out in front, or either when you're in the back as well, sometimes it may be hard to lose a bit of focus on the track, because obviously you may become complacent, but it didn't look like you lost a bit of focus. But were there times where you think that you almost lost the win potentially with the treacherous wind conditions, or did you think you had this one in the bag?
I was doing the balancing act of making sure I didn't drive above my ability level. And to answer your question very blatantly, yeah, there was a couple times I had a few moments. I was like, oh, don't crash out here, don't crash out here. especially through the turn one. Turn one was bad, and so was the final corner, because if you just overloaded the rear tires just a fraction too much, the car just wanted to continue rotating, and at that point you're a passenger. So I was trying to drive just fast enough, but at the same time, I know that, you know, if you take it too easy, you run the risk of having an accident. So I was doing the best I could to balance that and stay focused.
Yeah, indeed. And obviously, you pretty much were in those battles as well. Was it hard to keep yourself entertained during the race when you were on your own and had no one else to fight for, or did you just focus on getting to the finish line?
I was so focused on the finish line that I was checking like 5 times a lap to see what lap I was on, even though I already knew, you know, because I was just like, just trying to be like, come on, how many to go, you know, because I've had issues in the past where things have gone wrong in this position. So I was just like, let's just get there, you know, like, come on, how many more? But I did my best to remain 100% focused as best I could, but it, you know, it was tough. I mean, I know I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but the track was tough. I mean, you had to work for it today.
Yeah, indeed. And an interesting point to point out, you actually got the fastest lap on the final lap of the race, a 1:24, I think it was 1:24.001, I believe. So you definitely were pushing on that final lap, even though you were leading. So it shows that you want to strive for something more indeed. So we'll ask a couple more questions, actually. Road America next week. You want one race in Hockenheim. Do you think you're going to make it 2 for 2 next week?
Road America, you just throw the dice in the air and see what happens. Because the straights are so long and the draft is so strong in this car that if people behave themselves and we don't have a first lap calamity, anyone in the top 10 will have a chance to work their way to the front, because you 100% are at a disadvantage if you're in the lead. So I'll really work on my corner exits for the upcoming week and just hope I have enough pace. Typically, I finish in the top 5. Robert Towerton is very strong at Road America. So is James Pinsker. So if I can hang with them guys and maybe pull out some shenanigans on the last lap and end up P1, that would be ideal.
And before we close up the stream, do you have any shout-outs to give to any people watching today?
Absolutely. I'd like to thank everyone who donated for the past season's broadcast. Because of you, this is happening right now. So I appreciate it. There's 18 of you. I can't list y'all. I hope you understand that. They're on the forum. If you're interested, you can have a look. I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting. It's always great. I love it. You work with me. It's good fun. I'd like to thank my team, teammate Ted, with the awesome setup. I mean, hands down, absolutely nailed it. And I'd like to thank the drivers who are joining the series and trying to try their hand at making it in our SOF race.
Yes, and well done on the win today, and best of luck for next week in Road America. And obviously, thank you to everyone who's supporting the league for the last few seasons. Well done tonight.
Thank you.
And that wraps up the stream there. Plenty of battles to remember. And I think heading to Road America next week, I'm sure we're going to have some fantastic battles there as well.
Oh, certainly. So, you know, I think it's been such an a fantastic race. You know, we've certainly had many moments to remember. But of course, next week brings yet another unique set of challenges. So, you know, I think just wrapping up the broadcast, I'd just like to give a shout out to SDK Gaming as well as Virtual Racing School. Their services are available on their respective websites. And also, I think... you know, there are many more broadcasts to come later on tonight, so do stick with us here at Apex Racing TV. So, Jessica, you know, any final remarks before we do close the broadcast?
This is the first series I get to commentate on officially for the whole season, and boy, I picked a very fun series, and best of luck to everybody next week. I'm sure we're going to have twice as much action as we had this week. Hopefully, the lap 1 will be a lot cleaner, but we'll have to wait and see.
Oh, it certainly will. I think Road America is definitely one of the fan favorites. Certainly going to bring a lot of special moments, in fact. So, on behalf of Marco Barbanero behind the cameras and Jessica Ball alongside myself tonight, Thank you so much, Jessica, for carrying the broadcast. My name is Chan Wei Han, and we very much like to wish you guys a great night ahead, and we'll see you the next race.